Hi, good evening. This video is on expression vocabulary, and we're pretty much just going to be practicing what we learned today in class back on page 30 with the foldable. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll do number one. What we're pretty much trying to do is find each part of the expression. We're going to name our number of terms, what those terms are, what the variables are, the constants, and the coefficients. And we're going to do that 6 times. I'm probably going to do 3 of them, and then I'll let you do the 3 on your own. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Number of terms. Remember, terms are separated by plus and minus signs, so I'm going to go ahead and separate those. And I counted 1, 2, 3, and 4, so there's 4 terms. What are they? We've got 23y squared. We've got negative 4x, n, and 569. The negative 4x, just remember, look at the sign in front of it to determine whether it's going to be positive or negative. All right, the variables being used, we've got, I'm going to go ahead and write the power, so y squared, x, and n. Because y and y squared are 2 different things, so let's go ahead and write it with the power. All right, the only constant in this expression is 569, because that's the only number that stands alone with no variable. And our coefficients are 23, negative 4, and 1. Now, where do you see a 1? It's really right here with this n. So just know that when you don't see a coefficient with a variable, it is counted as a 1. All right, number 2, we've got 1, 2, 3 terms in this one. The 3 terms are 3a, 4y, and negative 6. My variables are a and y. My constants is actually just one of them, it's negative 6. And my coefficients are positive 3 and positive 4. All right, next, number of terms. Really, you would think it's 1, 2, 3 terms, but it's not. Because remember, a term is only separated by a plus or a minus sign. Really, each of these pieces is being divided by 12, so we can actually rewrite it as this. 8y divided by 12 plus z divided by 12. So we really only have 2 terms, okay? So number of terms is 2. What are they? We're going to do 8y over 12, which we can actually reduce that, but we're just going to keep it as this. And z over 12. What are my variables? Y and z. What are my constants? I actually don't have any. And then my coefficients, technically, the 8's being divided by 12, and 8 divided by 12, it turns into, what was that, 3/4? No, divide by 4, so it's 2/3, so 0.66. So let's just write it as 8/12. I know this one's kind of funky. And then this would just be 1/12. Okay? So that one's kind of funky. We'll talk about it tomorrow in class, just to clarify. All right, these next 3, do on your own. Do the underlining. Write the number of terms, what they are, what the variables are, the constants, the coefficients. Do the same thing for number 5, and then do the same thing for number 6. Okay, so go ahead and fill those out. All right, on the inside, I'm actually having to have you do this on your own. So number 7 says, write an expression that has 4 terms, 3 have coefficients, 1 is a constant, and label each part. So really very similar to number 1, very similar to number 4. So if you kind of want to copy those but change the numbers and letters around, you can. And then number 8, answer this and explain it. So can a number both be a constant and a term? Number 9, can a number be both coefficient and part of a term? And then does an expression have to contain a constant? And then just talk about yes or no and why you thought so. Okay? All right, over here we talked about this. This is just evaluating expressions, which just means find the value of the expression when given another value. So what this problem means right here is I've got 0.65 plus z. Well, they're telling me that z is 2.41, so I'm just going to replace the z with the 2.41. And then you just add that as normal, So you get what, 3.06, I think, right? Because that's 6, that's 10, that's 0, add 1. Yep, so 3.06, or 3 6 hundredths. Again, you're going to replace the variable with the given value. So this becomes 81 over 3, and 81 divided by 3 gives me 27. Right here, this means 8 times G. So this is 8 times 7.32. Or if you want to write it with parentheses instead, 8 times 7.32. I prefer parentheses. And then when you multiply that, so 8 times 7.32, 8 times 7.32. And I don't mind using a calculator, so go ahead and go for it. 58.56. And then the rest of these, 15 through 20, the exact same type of thing. Just remember to do order of operations. So when you go down here for number 19, just make sure you go left to right. 20, you've got a fraction, and you've got a just a nice whole number. So just make sure you either convert this to a decimal to subtract, or convert them to fractions where they have a common denominator. Okay, so go ahead and finish those 6 on your own. And if you have any questions, please comment at the bottom. Again, number 3 was kind of tricky, so we'll talk about that in class. So don't worry about if you didn't understand that one. We'll do another problem. And if you need to ask any questions in the class tomorrow, please feel free. All right, have a great night.